الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وأصحابه المنتجبين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. When we state to Allah, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين, it is actually an expression of utmost surrender and one in which we humble ourselves. It's a gesture of humility and surrender. Now, you don't say to anybody that I worship you. When you say I worship you, it means that I have no respect, dignity when it comes to you. When it's you, I'm totally surrendered to you. This is what I'm acknowledging of you. So the first thing we do when we utter the statement that Iyaka na'budu means that there is no discretion that I have when it comes to you. There is no dignity that I have when it comes to you. There is no pride that I have when it comes to you. And this acknowledgement of worshipping you is not one in which a person's body has been captured and put into servitude. Here, I am acknowledging willfully, giving myself away to you and giving you that status and right and rank. What this means is that actually, I, at the core of my consciousness, am acknowledging that I give myself into slavery and servitude to you at the level of my consciousness, that even there where I am as my identity I, you will prevail there. That it will be more you than I. This is the statement that we are actually making. That I worship you. I worship you, not my body. I worship you. What that demands is something huge. It demands God's presence in me, therefore, at all points, because I am in servitude to you, in devotion to you. So I can never think of myself independently of you. If I say I am devoted to you, then that means you have to prevail within me at every wakeful moment, in every thought, in every breath. Because it's not the body that's been taken into slavery, where my mind is free to roam, where my heart is free to feel. I am giving myself to you, which means therefore that at the level at which I comprehend and think, there you will prevail. Now I don't want to go too much into it, but think about what happens after, and then we say, Iyaka nasta'in, and it is only you that I ask from. Now that's a natural outcome, isn't it? If I'm totally devoted to you, at the core of my being, where you prevail, then there is no other outcome but this, that we will now only seek from you, because we are devoted to you. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in response here states that ask me and I will respond to you. What we fail to understand at this point is that we have expectations from God, and then we have disappointment, which is all fine. As somebody who relies on somebody else, we have a right to have expectations, and we have a right to feel disappointed. But as we grow into this journey, we need to lose that right. Because when we are uttering to God that, look, I am devoted to you, I'm surrendered to you, then that surrender says that, well, I have to trust your discretion beyond my own. That's the natural outcome. I am surrendered to you. I will do nothing but ask of you. But when I'm surrendered to you so willfully, then that demands of me that I need to respect your discretion as well. Whatever you decide is final. And I will not reserve the right to allow myself to feel disappointed with you. That is what the whole of the statement is aiming at. Now, when we trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's something that's quite difficult. It's not easy. Because you say to Allah, "Oh Lord, aren't you the one who can do anything and everything? Is it not possible for you to do what I'm asking you to do?" And that's where the disappointment comes in from. That look, I've really invested myself in you. I've fully invested myself in you. Can't you do this for me? Why didn't you do this? How much effort does it take for you to do this for me? Here is what we say that faith is required. That we just trust. Just trust in Him. This is the most difficult part of the whole of the devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you will not understand His ways on many occasions. Although what you're saying right now, this feeling that you're having is inconsistent with your own statement that إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ. When you say you are the only one I devote myself to, or we devote ourselves to, here you lose your discretion altogether. It has to be His discretion, you have to trust Him. But even then, I would say that we need to have faith, because you can't go and reason with people, because we are children. We really don't understand what we are saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are allowed to feel these emotions. We are allowed to feel these emotions that look, I'm really feeling disappointed and I can't even speak to you about it because it's discourteous. It is at points like this that we really do need to have faith and invoke faith. That Allah, I know you said, call me and I will respond. And I've called unto you, but you have not responded. And that causes me inner turmoil. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to rationally come and say to us, well look, you said you devote yourselves to me, so then trust my discretion. He's not going to say that. This is an answer we need to find from within ourselves. So at times, what God does is, He tests us, and He tests us very, very bitterly. And the most bitter test that God puts us through is this one. That when we say, Lord, I have invested myself in you fully. I don't have anybody other than you. I've cut off my inner relation from anyone. I've decided to rely on you. You are the focal point of my universe. You are my beginning, my end. And you are capable over all things, yet you do not grant me my prayer. And it's not difficult for you anyway. You can change destiny to a better destiny. This is the point where God tests the souls and the hearts of one and all. And this is the point where we need to then learn reliance on God. This is where we invoke faith. That, oh Lord, as difficult as it is for me, I will trust in your discretion. You see, what happens is that at times we become so disappointed. When our prayers are not granted in the way that we want them to be granted, we actually break from inside. And then we have nothing left to ask of God. Yes? It's that point of disappointment, utter and dire. I have nothing else to look forward to in this life now. I don't want anything. I'm not asking for anything anymore. Do what you will now. Yes? That might seem a very negative state initially, but it's actually a very good state. It begins to liberate us and free us from this world, and begins to bring us to God. And I've seen this, that only through God's non-response in a way that we want does this level of growth comes upon the soul. I just want to remind us of something that Al-Mahdi has said before we conclude this part of the khutbah. He does state in a very human fashion, Man li ghayruk as'aluhu kashfa durri wa nadara fi amri. O Lord, who do I have other than you, who will relieve my distress and who will look into my affairs? At this point, he's displaying a very human side that we all have. That, look, Lord, I have invested myself fully in you. Now I don't have anybody but you. He's actually complaining to Allah in the way that me and you complain. When the hearts really feel pain, that, oh Lord, you know what, I cannot go to anybody but you. And for you to not to grant me my prayer, when it does not cost you anything, is something that is painful, and it is very, very confusing. It's extremely confusing. But then he beautifully works his way through this dilemma inside his own soul. It's a shame that we don't read Ali properly, Salamullah alayhi. He works through it and he says, but oh Lord, now I do understand. I really do understand that if I am devoted to you, then I'm giving you that priority above me. Let me give that priority to you in the most intimate way. Let me learn not only to trust you, but to love you so fully, so fully, so fully, that whoever is around me, whoever I have loved, is just an expression of my love to you. And hence he concludes that part of his word, such a beautiful statement, and he says, oh Lord, but the realest loss is when I lose you. That is the truest loss. You have not answered my prayer, but you have ensured that I have not lost you. In this process of life, this is where we are supposed to go. And I suppose some of the things are only possible when Allah and God keeps us disappointed. And in that disappointment is a new beginning. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal-asr, inna al-insana lafi khusr. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we begin with the next sermon, let us pray Surah Fatih for our dear beloved sister and all our brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers and children who have lost their lives in this world of ours. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them with His good pleasure. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin wa ashabihi al-muntajibin. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaykum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On the note of trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His discretion and how psychologically we ought to be, what we need to understand here is that, of course, when we open our eyes in this world of ours, yes, we need to make sense of it. We get introduced to God. God is the all-benevolent, kind, omnipotent, omniscient, who can do anything, who hears everything, sees everything. And therefore, for naive children like us, it's confusing when we don't equate things properly in our minds. There is so much tyranny, there's so much oppression, there's so much suffering. If I'm paining, surely my God should not be able to tolerate this scene, yes? It is here when the faith of a person is tested to the core. The first thing we need to realize is that me and you have just come upon this earth now. Or we've just opened our eyes now. We have just awoken now. This vast universe is successfully existing. It's a success story, isn't it? It's a story of human success. It's there, meticulously balanced, beautifully equilibrium. If any one of those stars wasn't there properly, we would suffer here because everything is so intertwined, so beautifully connected. We need to understand that there is something beyond our understanding that is going on. And that the universe is able to sustain itself and to survive. And we are a part of His great scheme and plan. Now it is here that when we see what is happening to humanity, the human crisis, I mean, those before us face the same dilemmas. The story of the world hasn't changed. It is the same story, it's just been magnified, and that magnification is only due to the excessive numbers that there are today. But it's the same thing, yes? one child being killed oppressively and 1,000 being killed oppressively, it's the same thing. So for example, when the world only has 10 children and one is killed, it's the same as when the world has 2 billion children and 100 or 1,000 are killed. It's the same story. It's just being played out at different levels. But it is here that we do really need to trust God and God's discretion. Does not mean that we don't have responsibility. That's what I want to talk about in a little while. But in the overall scheme, we need to trust God. We need to know that since He is here, He is watching, He is seeing, we know He is compassionate because we cannot accept, we are hardwired to not to be able to accept a God who is hard-hearted. We can't trust, we can't believe in such a God. Our God has to be the most compassionate God. And on top of that, He Himself verifies that He is the most compassionate, the most loving, the kindest of God, the most caring. It is here that we really, really need to, from the core of our beings, trust in God. And we need to tell God that at the level of your desire, despite whatever I'm feeling in there, I'm going to trust you. And I'm going to trust your discretion and whatever you're doing or letting happen to this earth of ours. At a different level, however, we are required to make a change, to make a difference. Now, this difference that we need to make is, we need to ensure that oppression and tyranny does not exist on the face of this earth. Now, we lost our sister. It was very, very painful. And every pain is a unique pain. It's meant to pain. It's meant to hurt. It's meant to break us inside. It's meant to cause confusion in the heads. It's meant to cause all those dilemmas that we go through, because that is our journey. That is how we find ourselves and our God. But can you imagine the plight of those little children in Syria and Yemen? My goodness! Think about it. There is a little girl who doesn't have a mother or father. So she's drawn the picture of her mother on the earth, and she sleeps in the embrace of the picture. Can you imagine the pain there? A boy of 4, he got his rucksack on, pair of shoes. They said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "I've been told my mother and father are in Palestine, so I'm going to walk there to find them." How could they explain to him that they were killed last night? How? And then there were 2 brothers. They said, "We saw our 2-year-old brother outside." So we were laughing at him, telling him to come in. They lost their parents, and there was a bomb blast. And they ran with their brother to the hospital, and he was taken. Allah took him in front of them. Imagine. Have you seen those children in Yemen? What is happening to them? How they are dying? So we are responsible here to bring about a greater awakening within humanity. We are responsible here to not to eat to our stomach's content, but to give away those morsels to others. They are hungry. How can we feed ourselves? And no one is more guilty than the one who stands before you for this crime. You know, we are responsible here. To that extent, apart from trusting in Allah, we are responsible for resolving this situation. We are supposed to feed them. We are supposed to shelter them. We are supposed to ensure their safety. We are supposed to ensure that the world governments look at those people compassionately, that justice is done to them. They are looked upon compassionately. We are supposed to do everything in our capability. If we are able to change the policy of our government towards the Middle East, then we are supposed to do that. Yes? We are supposed to go to our governments and say, "Look, you're going to play a very positive role in the Middle East, in Syria. Yes? In Yemen, you're going to play a positive role. You are not going to aid the oppressors." We are supposed to do this, me and you. We are supposed to talk about it. Really? If one of our sons or daughters or mothers of fathers or brothers or sisters was trapped in Syria or Yemen, do you think we would be so calm today? Really? We wouldn't, would we? Are these people not our mothers and fathers? Our brothers and sisters? Our little children? For me, there is no Islam, there is no Christianity, there is no Judaism, there is no black, there is no white, there is no brown. Alhamdulillah, we've come beyond all of these discriminations. It's our soul in the form of a child, in the form of a sister, brother, father, mother. We are supposed to do this. However, failing to make a real impact, what is required at the very least is to do whatever we can do to our extent. I need to say two more things here. Do you remember that story, whether it's true or made up? The moral is sound, that when Abraham was being flung inside that inferno, there was a little frog or a bird who used to take some water in his mouth and then go and spit into the fire. And the angel said, what do you intend to do? He said, well, I intend to put out the fire and save the friend of God from being burned. He said, but do you think this action of yours will put out such a huge fire? He said, that is not upon me. I have to do whatever I can to the best of my ability. The rest is up to God. So we have to do whatever we can, even if it is by speaking, giving money, caring about them. We have to. That is our test here. But more than that, what we are required to do and what cannot be forgiven, and what is the real test is, that here there is supposed to be that pain and concern. That's the very least and the most important. That at the core of our hearts has to be concern for those people. And we shouldn't be concerned about them as a person is concerned about the other. We need to be concerned about them as a person is concerned about their own. We need to love these little children of ours, our mothers, brothers and sisters and fathers, and we need to lose sleep over it. We need to pain, the real pain. If we can start paining for them, then that shows that we have done the very least requirement that is required of us. And that we are not with the people who are oppressing them, because we are paining in there. That our hearts and our souls are clean. That we are not a party to the injustices that are being done to them. I am going to finish on this note now. That when our hearts cease to pain at the plight of humanity, then by God, we are the ones who are causing them those terrors, harm, and oppression and transgression. I can tell you this much. When Allah says that what comes to me is what is within your hearts, then by God, me and you will stand in front of Allah and His Prophet on the day of Qiyamah, and He will say to us that, well, you said all these things. Was there a little bit of concern in your heart? Did you pain for them? And if you did not pain for them, then surely you are one of those who could not be concerned about them. Let us pray Surah Al-Fatiha for our dear brother Mahdi to recover very swiftly, and for all those who are unwell. Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعليه الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل وسلم على محمد المصطفى وعلى علي المرتضى وعلى فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي وحجة الله بن الحسن القائم والمهدي المنتظر